I think I like strawberry pineapple jam so much because I really appreciate the tropical fruits. So adding it to my classic strawberry jam is wonderful. The taste is so good. The color is beautiful. I mean, what's not to like about this one? I begin by removing the stems on about 7 cups of strawberries. I have a couple others sitting by because I need 3.5 cups of pulp. So we'll see how much it is once the blender goes. I really like to use this little tool for removing the stems. It does such a good job. And I feel like I'm not wasting as much of the strawberry. It just makes a little hole, and that's all. So I go in, turn it. Sometimes there'll be a tiny bit left over, but not much. And then I just press the little button here, and it pushes out the little plug of strawberry. These are really big strawberries, so their stems seem to be sticking a little more at the edges, but it's not a big deal. I'll then place my strawberries in my blender. You could do this just by crushing them, but I like my jam really smooth, so I like to use the blender for it. If I want bigger chunks, I just blend for a shorter amount of time. If I want it really smooth, then I do it for a longer period. I then allow it to settle and check just how much is in it. Of course, they make these a little hard to read, and it's perfectly 3.5 cups, so. Generally speaking, the puree will be about half of whatever the whole fruit was. I'll then combine all of my ingredients except for the sugar into my pot. So that'll be 3.5 cups of strawberry pulp, whether it be mashed or pureed, that's up to you. Smells so good. It's strawberries, imagine that. 1 20-ounce can of crushed pineapple, 1/4 of a cup of lemon juice, 6 tablespoons of pectin, and 1/2 teaspoon of butter. I also have 8.5 cups of sugar that I've pre-measured. Now I'll set this off to the side because I'll need it later. And then I'll place these on the stove and bring them to a boil. With it boiling, I'll add my sugar all at once. This is why it needs to be pre-measured, because there wouldn't be enough time to measure it all out and keep it from burning at the same time. And then I'll mix it in and stir it pretty regularly and bring it back to a boil. Now that it's come to a boil, I'll set the timer for 1 minute. This is part of what activates the pectin and makes it so that the jam sets. Then I'll fill my pint-sized jars up to 1/4 of an inch of headspace. Headspace is the space from the top of the food to the top of the jar. I'll then use a clean, damp cloth to wipe off the rim of the jar so that if any jam got on the edge, it won't interfere with the seal. Then I'll place the lid and ring on until they're fingertip tight. I'll then place these in the boiling water bath and process them for 15 minutes if at sea level. I'm at 1,200 feet, so I'll increase it to 20. And I won't set the timer until after it begins to rapidly boil. Now that the timer's gone off, I'll remove the lid, turn off the heat, and let it cool for 5 minutes. I then place my jars 1 to 2 inches apart so that they can cool quickly, and I'll leave them there for 24 hours until they have a really good seal. After that point, I'll remove the ring and use warm soapy water to wash off the outside, and then I'll store them in a cool, dry, dark location, and I'll use them in the next 1 to 3 years. Oh, this is one of my favorites. It really is so good. I don't know what it is about it, but I'm so in love with the strawberry pineapple jam. I have a friend who's allergic to pineapple, and it just killed me every time that we would make this together that she couldn't eat it. Normally I wouldn't eat it plain, but it is lovely on so many things, whether that be even something as simple as a peanut butter jelly sandwich or toast, or any of the pancakes, waffles, ice cream, especially if you heat it up. So good.